Free Agency 2023 kicked off without anything crazy happening other than the Houston Rockets already ruining Amen Thompson's career and Dame Lillard running from the grind. The Orlando Magic thankfully didn't spaz out like the Rockets and make stupid moves. They brought back Mo Wagner, who had a career year last season, averaging 10 and 5, mainly off the bench. He had the third highest CPM on the team and shot 66% at the rim and nearly 50% as a roller off pick and rolls. He was a starter, averaging 15 points per game during our best stretch of the season when we won 9 games out of 10 back in December. He proved to be a decent scoring big option off the bench throughout the season. However, he's one of the worst bigs at defending pick and rolls, and that's why he'll only receive spot-up minutes as a backup for next season. Mo is like a young vet now and has been an integral part of the family atmosphere the Magic have established in the last 2 seasons, and bringing him back will only increase the team morale. Also, bringing Markelle back will also increase the team morale. The Magic fully guaranteed the contracts of the still young 25-year-old point guard and also Goga Bitadze yesterday. Gary Harris's option was not as much of a sure thing, but thankfully the Magic are bringing him back for at least another season. The younger Magic players all love and look up to Gary, who's a good locker room vibes guy, but also has a deep playoff experience to offer when it's time. And let's not forget, he was our most consistent shooter last season. Heading into the offseason, the Magic were ready to take the next step and were looking to fill a need while also prioritizing veteran help, and I think they did just that by signing Joe Ingles. The Australian has been a pro since 2006, going back to his days playing professionally in Australia and in Europe. He's been in the NBA for 10 years now, mostly with the Utah Jazz. He was part of that late 2010s Utah Jazz core that kind of revitalized that franchise. They had some decent playoff runs and this fell short because of the weak perimeter defense. Some Magic fans are still pissed off about the deal. It priced us out of making a run at Brook Lopez, but Joe Ingles is on a short-term deal with a second-year team option, I'm guessing. But more importantly, he'll be a good locker room presence and a good mentor to our younger players. And I think he's actually going to come here and be invested and not just be here for a vacation like Ben Gordon, Jeff Green, and Serge Ibaka were. Joe Ingles is beloved by every teammate he's had at every stop of his career. He's someone who'll uplift the team spirit when it's down, and he's brought here to teach. He's going to offer some key pointers and tips to all of our young playmakers. I think Anthony Black and Franz Wagner will benefit the most with his presence. You see, Ingles has been one of the most versatile players in the last decade and is a true point forward type, being the connective piece and also carrying secondary ball handling duties for perennial playoff teams with the Utah Jazz. He tore his ACL in January 2022 and came back less than a year later with the Bucks, and he didn't look completely washed. I remember he played well against the Magic last season, making some great reads and scoring off the dribble. He had a decent comeback season last season, averaging 7 3-3 while shooting 40% from 3 on 4 attempts in just 22 minutes. Talk about exactly what the Magic need. A shooter who'll space the floor by keeping defenders honest and not afraid to launch, especially in clutch situations. Ingles is someone who can still come up big in playoff situations, like last season when he shot 5 for 6 from downtown while posting a plus-minus of +30 in Milwaukee's only win against the Miami Heat in the first round without Giannis. He'll fit in perfectly with his Magic team by bringing much needed shooting as a backup stretch 4. You can even slot him in as a small forward in bigger situational lineups as a point forward. He's a tall 6'8", 6'9" playmaker with a steady floor game for his size, again fitting in with the way the current Magic roster is constructed. Ingles is very crafty still, operating out of the pick and roll. Nobody can speed him up. He'll always be a clever player with the ball, and an ACL tear won't ever take away that part of his game. You can count on him to make intelligent reads on the court and will keep the ball moving on the perimeter. The Magic coughed up the 7th most turnovers per game last season and the 3rd most in third quarters, usually when teams went on huge runs against us. But thankfully Joe Ingles takes care of the ball and is a calming presence on the court. The Magic desperately needed a calming presence on the court, especially during 4th quarter runs with Markelle off the floor last season, and Ingles will be that veteran voice the team will need next season in clutch situations. Furthermore, he's a very competent playmaker off the pick and roll and established a decent partnership with Brook Lopez last season. Look for him to form the same effective 2-man chemistry with Paolo, Wendell, Mo, and even Goga next season. His defense was never his strongest suit and is probably even worse after his injury, so his minutes will probably be limited to around 15 to 20 minutes per game next season. But I think he can get by being the stretch 4 with J.I. Wendell protecting the rim and with great point of attack defenders in front of him. At the very least, he'll make smart rotations and use his 6'10" wingspan to get into passing lanes. Despite his age, Ingles is still a reliable knockdown shooter. His form is like a slingshot, but it still goes in. You can park him in the right corner or on both elbow spots as a spot-up threat. Last season, he shot 54% on 3 attempts per game while spotting up. He won't be a movement shooter like T. Ross or Jet Howard, so don't ever expect him to run around screens coming off pin downs. but he can shoot off the dribble when needed. He was an underrated shooter off the dribble with the Jazz, stepping into threes, stepping back, and he showed more than enough flashes of doing the same with the Bucks last season, so it's still a part of his game. Now, apart from his scoring and playmaking, his on-court presence will be his most important contribution to the Magic next season. He's always communicating with his teammates on the court, telling them where to go, being like an extension of the coach on the floor. I think younger players learn better when there's an experienced player on the court with them, because experienced players like Ingles understand the little nuances of defending better and can read rotations better to alert them during games. I think inexperienced players learn better when they're being told what to do in real time on the court instead of being yelled at by their coach during timeouts or video sessions. Joe Ingles provides that, and you'll always see him talking on the floor and making an effort to get his teammates talking as well. The main objective for the Magic next season is to try to make the playoffs and do some damage while being there. Adding Joe Ingles to play spot minutes in a tough playoff environment will be a huge benefit. Add on his mentorship and locker room presence to his playoff experience, then $22 million is more than enough for his services. And I think the Magic shouldn't stop there. Adding a veteran with championship experience will be even more impactful. Someone like a Danny Green, who still shot 44% from 3 last season, albeit in low minutes. It sucks that Patty Mills just got signed, and Brook Lopez would have been perfect, but yeah, we were priced out after signing Ingles. A vet with championship experience is just what this core needs. The current Nuggets core had it with Mike Miller and Richard Jefferson, and they also had Jameer Nelson, who of course brought them finals and deep playoff experience. But Joe Ingles was the second best true veteran option after Brook Lopez, and will bring valuable experience and mentorship to a young roster. And guess what? He can still play a little. Well, that's the end of the video. What are your thoughts on free agency so far? Is Joe Ingles the right signing? Should we bring back Bol Bol? I think we should. He was like a true rookie last season and played his first ever full season. Sure, he made some mistakes, but there's a lot of untapped potential with him. Plus, his teammates love him. And the Anthony Black video will be up soon. I just thought it'd be better to just release it near Summer League season. And I wanted to see if anything happened to Markelle, because the majority of that video is about Anthony Black's fit with Markelle and our guards. Anyways, thanks for watching, and thanks a ton for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I know I've only put out like 35 videos so far. Before I started, I never knew editing and making videos would take up so much of my time. I'm still getting used to balancing my work life with this channel, but best believe I'll be making more videos more frequently for you guys, so be on the lookout. Thanks for all the love, peace, and go Magic.